Most Def says Drake is not hip hop, and his music is the equivalent of shopping at Target.
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Drake is pop to me, in the sense like if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
What up, words? Your boy Charles Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Head over to CLBMG.com. Yo, listen, I've been going through all my old school hip hop books. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's hip hop. I don't. It's difficult, bro. I'm trying to figure this out the best I can. Going through my rap pages, going through my source books, my XXLs. I'm going through old videotapes. I'm on my Wikipedia. I'm trying to figure out for you what is hip hop. And the definition is very convoluted. But at the end of the day, we're talking about one man's opinion of another man's opinion. Most Def was asked on a podcast that I seem to can't find. I can't find a real podcast. I've been looking for that thing. I believe the podcast is called On the Cutting Room Floor or something to that degree. A female host was asking Most Def, apparently asking him hip hop questions, and Drake's name came up. Most Def did a little chuckle, and he started to say, "Why are you doing this to me?" which I thought was hilarious. Then he thought about it and said, basically, that he considers Drake to be pop. I want to get into all this. We're going to get into all of this. We're going to be here a while. Get your hot chocolate, get your cookies and cream. We're going to be here for a while. He said he considers Drake to be pop, and he considers Drake's music likable after being not pressed, because she didn't press him, but she continued to go along the line of questioning. One of the most hilarious, let's just be honest. We all know Drake is sensitive, and he'll probably take it to heart first, and then he'll make a joke later. But end of the day, this is funny. Most Def saying, look at all these products, in reference to all of Drake's musical endeavors, calling them products. I don't even think it was that deep. He was just making fun. He was just having fun with a peer, right? I don't think Most Def was hating. And in the comments, this is how it was lined up. Any and every Drake fan called this guy a old, musty, dusty old head. Opinion had no validity because he's old. You can't have an opinion about this stuff because he's old. Once you're old, to these guys, if you don't like Drake, it's because you're old. Let's just start there. You can't have a negative opinion of Drake because you're old. If you have an opinion that's not in favor of Drake, you're old. The musty, dusty old heads. I guess I'm musty, dusty old head. But I have nothing against Drake's music. I am one of the people who will tell you quickly, Drake is allowed to do whatever he wants to do. We didn't tell the people from back in the day, Grand Poobah, we didn't tell Grand Poobah not to sing, right? It's a lot of rappers that sang. We didn't tell Wyclef not to sing. We didn't tell Lauren not to sing. We didn't tell Andre not to sing. We love Andre singing, even though Andre was off key sometimes. We loved and still love an artist who can express themselves in different ways, right? I don't know if you remember, what was that group? The Born Americans, who would chant, sing, and do a little this and that. It was a lot of different groups that had a lot of different flavors of hip hop. So no one is going to tell you just because someone is a singer and a rapper that they're not hip hop. So I'm going to start there. Now we're going to get all the way around to, is Drake hip hop? Not just any random guy that's singing and rapping. But is Drake himself hip hop? Now we're going to get there. But I just want to lay the groundwork to where I'm going. You, as a hip hopper, I don't care if you're 60, 70, 50, 40, 20, whatever. You cannot say that someone cannot be in hip hop because they sing. Let's just start there. Casey and JoJo, Jodeci is considered a hip hop group. They're looked at as almost as rapidy rap as rappers, and they do not rap. Belle Biv DeVoe is looked at as a hip hop group. You only going to get a verse from Ronnie here and there, Ricky here and there. Mike here and there. But you're not picking up a Belle Biv DeVoe album getting a whole lot of bars from back to front. But they are considered what? Hip hop. Let's just keep it a buck. Belle Biv DeVoe is considered hip hop. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. They done some of the most hip hop stuff. Bobby Brown done some of the most hip hop. He out hip hop half your hip hoppers. He in the trenches more than half your hip hoppers. He bought that life. He in them streets for real, for real. Bobby, go ask about Bobby Brown in them streets. So what we're not going to do is just say, oh, because he's singing, right? Dana Dane should sing Nightmares of the Night, Nightmares, all that, right? Slick Rick always sang. Slick Rick busts out in the middle of any song. Start, if you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet. Walk on. See, it's not, we're not going to box a person in. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is be honest about what we're talking about. So no, the very first people that's going to say Drake is disqualified because he sings, he is a hip hopper. If you're going to, you could still be a hip hopper. Let me leave it at that. So then the next thing you're going to say, Drake don't write his raps. Dr. Dre don't write his raps. I always say Kid wrote all the raps for Play. There are a lot of rappers. Eazy-E didn't write one bar ever, right? Considered the greatest rappers of all time. There's a lot of rappers who were street dudes that were given the pen. A lot of rappers, right? That you respect got that rhyme written for them, got that verse written for them. A lot of males and females rappers that to this day still need somebody to sit down and write for them. Kanye West, a lot of his rhymes are written by someone else. Shock, horror, gasp, right? A lot of his rhymes are written. Drake has written for Kanye. So you consider Kanye hip hop, don't you? You go say, oh, that graduation was classic. College Dropout was classic. Well, guess what? He didn't write all them bars, buddy. You still consider him hip hop. So let's just get to the meat and the bones of it. Why do you feel, or Mos Def feels, that Drake is not hip hop? I just explained to you, there is nothing that Drake is doing that isn't hip hop. Let's just start there. Now, let's just say this, though. Why would a legendary artist such as Mos Def, and let's be honest, Mos Def is a legendary artist. Mos Def is known for plugging into the soul, the heart of hip hop. From the very first time Mos Def stepped on the scene, he was considered a prodigy. He was considered he was considered someone that was going to be legendary. It was going to be a problem to deal with Mos Def, and it was a problem. So what we're not going to do is act like Mos Def is not a legend in this business. He has some of the most incredible music, some of the most soulful hip hop. He is one of the people who made hip hop a respectable art form. I'm going to just be honest with you. When dudes was doing a lot of cat in the hat, blippity blop, goopity goop stuff, Mos Def was coming with, whoa, he was coming with that soul, right? Mayumi says, shine your light on the world. He was coming with the real, that Brooklyn, that soulful stuff. He could stand right next to Biggie and anybody else and still be himself. So what we're not going to do, just because you don't know who Mos Def is, you're not going to discredit the man because he said what he wanted to say. Now, we're in the era that people can't speak their mind anymore. You can't have an opinion. Because if you got an opinion, you got to get canceled or you got to get trampled. And it ain't no way around it. I'm going to speak for Mos Def and explain what he was doing when he was joking. Remember the word joking with Drake, but it was all jokes have a semblance of reality at the core. So you could be joking about something, but you really feel that, even though you're saying it in a playful manner. I'm going to explain to you why Mos Def said what he said. Mos Def is cut from a different cloth. He's cut from a cloth that I am cut from, where we really respect bars, dissection of bars. And if you listen to Mos Def, even to this day, if you go and listen to the album that he has right now with Talib, them are some of the most complex wordplay you will ever hear. And the only people that's going to say it's not are people that really don't understand it. It take a level of intelligence and consciousness to dissect some of the stuff that Mos Def is saying to you. I'm just going to be honest. And when a guy tells me he can't relate to the rhymes or whatever, he don't like that kind of style, or it's old, it's dusted out, it notches off a few notches off my belt for your opinion. When you don't like a Mos Def, you don't like a Common, you know what I'm saying? You don't like a Talib, you don't like a Chino XL or something to that degree or whatever, right? When you don't like hieroglyphics, you don't like alcoholics, you don't like Tribe Called Quest, it kind of notches your credibility down. You don't like Phife Dawg, right? So what Mos Def is doing is something that's a little more complex. It takes a little more context. And the simple fact of the matter is something more complex is going to drive people away from, it's going to draw in the more, I'm not going to say intelligent, but that is the core of it. When you're dealing with all kind of complexities and different similes and metaphors and da-da-da, and you're saying stuff that's supposed to, it's double entendres and it's kicking at different levels of the flows, people that's seeking out harder flows to do. You got some rappers who keep the same flow their entire career, and they keep it right there, real simple to digest, and some people love it, like a Jeezy, right? Some people love a young Jeezy. Now, you're not walking away with a Jeezy verse scratching your head like, what do you mean? What do you mean by snow? Like, you know what he meant. It wasn't difficult. So the simple fact, some rappers are going to leave it more straight up hood for you. Other rappers like a Mos Def are going to be more complex. Other rappers like myself and certain people from a certain ilk don't want to hear it if it's not enough bars and metaphors and similes and complexities. We want more of that. Now, you can't get it as much as you used to. It's just not enough people doing it. So we kind of got to take what we can get, right? But that's what we like. And we, for better or worse, and I'm going to be honest, the word is freaking, it's a freaking snob almost. But we are hip hop snobs to a degree, and that's what we want. And when it's anything less, we grade it on a different curve. And we do not consider it, yeah, you're going to say some stuff, okay, let that in. What's that? Ooh, boy, I love you so. Never, ever, ever going to let is it Domino or something from the West? Not Domino, the other guy. All right, let that in. It ain't as complex. It ain't as like, but it's cool. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was. All right, you know what? Let that in. Come on, let that in. Right? It ain't as complex, but let it in. Come on. You know what I'm saying? So a certain stuff that we let in, and we'll be at a show or something, and we'll rock with it. It is what it. Let it in. Come on. With that being said, we would let a Drake in, but until he disappoints us, right? Now, when I say that Drake is or is not hip hop, the problem with the situation is you're dealing with Mos Def, who is a lyrical monster, a guy that literally puts pad to the pen for no other reason than to absolutely destroy or be super complex and to not be able to say any rhyme that someone else has said before, unless he's paying homage to that person, right? It's an intricate dance, a ballet. It's an art form. And we look at it as such. And we take it very seriously and we have it in a high regard. And we feel like when you wield it as a marketing scheme instead of the art form, that's not hip hop. I'm going to say that again. When you use this art form When you strip away the purity and the creativity and the complexity, and it's like one of those lollipops, the little what's the one? How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop, right? Once you start peeling off all the layers and you get to the middle and it just all you want is the sweet spot, the crunch. We don't respect that. And that's what he means when he said it's like walking through Target. It's safe, it's nice. It's easy to digest, it's likable. Look at all these SKUs, look at all these products. Because when you walk through Target, who you mostly see? White ladies. They ain't bumping nothing hard up in there. So he's saying this is pleasant. This is pleasant. This is okay. I can shop to this, right? And that's what he means. And I don't understand how these Drake fans, they got so mad. The Drake fans got so mad. I'm just going to be honest. It's really nothing to be mad about. What he literally said was, it's pop. And it is popular music. I've never seen so many people get upset about something being called exactly what it is. You want it both ways. You want him to be the king of pop. You want him to be the biggest thing in the world. But then you want him to be the king of hip hop at the same time. Hip hop not pretty. Hip hop not grimy. Hip hop is grimy. Hip hop is not. It's not for the friendly walk through Target. I'm just sorry to inform you of what hip hop really is. And I'm going to say it again. Hip hop was created because the gangs were fighting so much that they were killing each other. And it was to a point they needed to do something else and figure out how to stop doing that. And when they stopped doing that, they started to compete in other ways, which was breaking. They started to compete with graffiti. And then rapping came along after the DJs were rocking the park jams. And they wanted somebody to get up there and say the DJ's name so that people would know who was spinning the records. And that's when the rappers began. And then the rappers started having crews and they started battling. And that's where we got to this day. It was always a sport of competition. Now you want to say, well, Drake wins his battles. He does win his battles. You're right. You're absolutely right. But, and this is where we get to the other side of the coin. The reason Mos Def is saying that he doesn't consider Drake hip hop because it's too in a box. I can almost take Drake's stuff from 10 years ago and play Drake and reverse them. Reverse the stuff from 10 years ago to right now. The actual words. And it would almost be almost just as good, if not the exact same thing. And what I mean by that is it hasn't progressed. I'm not even gonna be that harsh. I'm not gonna say it hasn't progressed, right? But it's very similar. And the formula gets more and more and more and more sharp. Drake could give you an album of hits. You give him 6 months, 4 months, 2 months. I don't know how long it takes Drake to make an album. But it's gonna be guaranteed some songs on there that are exactly what you expected them to be. Exactly like. And you know what that's not? That's not supposed to be hip hop. If I gotta drop an album, what's this album? Not Her Lost, the last one, right? I'm bugging out. For All the Dogs. If I gotta drop this album and it has to be made to go number one by all means, I'm gonna just spell it out. If I only make albums that are just, they have to compete with Taylor Swift and they have to compete with Beyonce, bro, I'm not doing hip hop no more. I'm just gonna be 100% with you. Because hip hoppers don't compete with Taylor Swift. They compete with other hip hoppers. Right? And you're going to say, well, he's blowing them out the water. There's no rappers that's even close. You're right. You know why? Because his music is pop. He's not doing hip hop. He's not on their level. Because he's making songs for girls to get drunk to in the club. And guys to bang those girls when they leave the club. That's what his music is for, and nothing, absolutely nothing else. Do you understand the range that a hip hopper is supposed to be able to attain with his music? Sonically, what your range is supposed to be? Now, I'm sure Drake could rap the ass off of anybody. He could rap the shit out of anybody. But he never will because he don't make music to win rap awards. He make music to win pop awards. And it's okay. But we're not going to pretend that Drake is competing with hip hoppers. When you elevate to a status where your first week sales are competing with Adele, and you're not going to do nothing risky on that album to mess them sales up, you are not a hip hopper no more, bro. You're a pop star. I'm sorry to tell you. I don't know what else to say to you. If you do your albums in accordance with the Billboard charts and all of your songs are in a formula bubble that's going to make people dance, sing, want to have sex, and that's about the gist of it, you're doing pop music. A hip hop head, a real hip hop spitter, them songs going to have so much more substance to them, like Mos Def albums do. And I'm not saying Mos Def is better than Drake. I'm not telling you this. Because Mos Def sings his ass off too. But Mos Def sing about stuff, I want black people to be free. That's all that matters to me, right? And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. But I'm telling you, that ain't going to sell what Mos Def is singing about, and he does it anyway. He does it anyway. Because you know why? Because that's a hip hopper. Hip hopper would take $1,000 video and do a song they purely just because they just love the sonics of it. Not because this one in the back of the studio like it and that girl want to hear it and this one want to hear it. No. A hip hopper don't need nobody in there. They're going to make their music for themselves, and that's going to be what it is. And then they're going to put it into the world. But you're going to say, oh, why would you put it out to the world? Because that's what a hip hopper is. It's a freaking art form, bro. It ain't about chasing numbers. These first week numbers that academics throws out, right? And I'm not going to say this stuff like that that's killing hip hop because you can't never kill this. But real ones are going to get it. Like the people that's saying Andre shouldn't have threw a flute album out. Well, that's what he felt, bro. A hip hopper don't force shit. They just do shit. When the Beastie Boys picked up their instruments again and started playing rock and soul, acid and all this other stuff, that's when they went leaps and bounds beyond rappers. Because they were doing something different. And a lot of people started to try to get into that soulful lane. And the Beastie Boys, every time they dropped, their records did numbers. And there wasn't not one, if you had one, they never really made no commercial songs. Let's just be honest. They made good rap songs that went commercial. It's two different things. But they did the music from the heart. Hey, Leroy. Like whatever they doing in the studio, it's because they felt like it. Bringing Q-Tip in, bringing Biz Markie in. They felt it. It was a heartful music. They would hold up in the house and just jam, try all kind of sounds. Raindrops and all kind of sounds. That's what hip hoppers do, bro. Not just one producer just making rap beats over and over and over. And then you figuring out a way how to fit lines about females in there. This is what I'm saying. I have no problem with what Drake's doing, but what we're not going to do is get mad when a real dude that understands how complex hip hop can be is asked about his opinion of somebody who clearly is using a formula, and most of it, 90% of their stuff is formulated for the radio. That's an old term, for the radio. When you say for the radio, that means it's meant to sell records. It's meant to be commercial. Well, you want to say, well, isn't all music meant to sell records? Yeah, but not at all costs. Not at having 8, 9 songs in a row be about a girl you lost, or a girl you trying to get, or a girl you like, or a girl you used to like, or 7 girls you banged, or all about. When you got 8 songs about females in a row, that is a formula, bro. You want them girls and them guys that like girls to listen to that song, that album. That's not what Mos Def does. Now, I feel like on top of all of that, your substance has to be better. We can't even tell stories anymore. And I'm not knocking on Drake. I'm just telling you the entire genre right now is dying. You can't get a rapper to tell you a story to save his mom's life. You just can't. They won't tell you a story. They have nothing to say. It's repetitive, the entire genre. And we have certain people to blame for they being like that. But at the end of the day, that's where we are. So, is Drake a hip hopper? Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Do he move like a hip hopper? Absolutely not. Because the simple fact that he dropped For All the Dogs, Let It Go #1, and then threw 6 songs on the end of it, called it Scary Hours 2. Because everybody was saying he wasn't rapping. He let the people push him into rapping. I'm just going to be honest with you. I do controversial conversations that nobody else will say. Either they screaming at you and yelling at you, or they don't know what they're talking about, and they start talking about the dude numbers and what he sold. I'm telling you, this hip hop is stuff from the heart. And it's elevation. And I'm going to even go a step further and be like, you need to check what you listen to outside of Drake. If you're a Drake fan, that's cool. But if everything else you listen to is pop, and you rarely listen to a hip hop album, then you probably shouldn't even get in the conversation in the first place. If everything you listen to is pop and and you're listening to all this other stuff, this probably ain't even a conversation for you to have. You used to like rap back in the day, okay, that's cool, but then you stop listening to it, and all you listen to is, then you're not a hip hopper. You are a pop fan. And we're not even on the same, we're not talking about the same things anyway. So all the Drake fans who went at this guy, and they're going to go dig up Mos Def videos, and they're going to go comment in his videos and try to clown him, and this all this for the love, which is a bunch of young guys going to go and do some stuff and try to slander this man's name. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to have an opinion. People have opinions. I don't know what to tell you. But is Drake a hip hopper? Yeah, he can do hip hop. He can rap. And his lifestyle is major. It's a big, that's what everybody raps about. All the hip hoppers, we grew up rapping about having this and having that, money, cars, too big, we rapped about all that. And he actually achieved it. But he did not achieve that being a hip hopper. He achieved it being a pop star. And I'm gonna leave it at that. CLBMG. I don't understand why people. Actually, I do understand, because a lot of people never knew what hip hop really was in the first place. They like the beat, they like the song, and now they're hip hoppers, right? They never seen a break battle. And yes, I'm calling it. That's what it is. You have to see these things. You have to want to see them. If you never wanted to do nothing but just sit in your house and play your Apple Music, I'm sorry to tell you, bruh, you are not a hip hopper. We used to go to places where they had ciphers. It's 500 rappers there that want to cipher. They want to battle. They want to rap. They want to break dance. You going out in scary hours of the night in real life, out in these places where you might get stabbed. You're there. I was there. I went a bunch of places, bro. I'm hip hop, bro. I do this. I just was at the Lock show last night. Right? It is what it is. It's a lifestyle. And if you are in the suburbs, in your house, trying to tell grown men what hip hop is, I'm sorry to tell you, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm going to leave it at that. CLBMG. My name is Charles Brown. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Drake a hip hopper, or is he like shopping at Target? I thought that was pretty clever, bro. Let's come on. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
CLB.